Hello, my friend. You are welcome to my YouTube channel. We have a very interesting equation we are going to be solving in this episode. Let's go through it. We have that we should find the value of x in when this is added to this, we get 2. So we should get the value of x. Now, if you look at this equation carefully, this is an example of a nested radical equation. The nested radical equation, you have a root sign, then you have another root sign inside the root sign. That is an example of a nested radical equation. The first thing you do when you want to solve this kind of question is to try as much as possible to get rid of the root signs. So with that at the back of our mind, let's try and get the solution to this problem. All right, solution. The first, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to make an assumption. I'm going to say, let the whole of this term, let me say, let A be equal to the whole of this, please. And let me say, let B be equal to the whole of this term. So this I can replace with A, and this one I can replace with B. That is the assumption I've made. So I'm now going to rewrite my question, but now in terms of A and B. The reason is that there will be a lot of multiplication and expansion. So I want to use A and B so it will be easy for us. Then later on, we can now substitute the values of this into A and B. So let's do it. This equation becomes A plus B is equal to 4, is equal to 2, please. This is 2. Is equal to 2. The next thing I want to do is to take the square root of square of both sides. If I square both sides, I will have A plus B squared is equal to 2 squared. Okay? A plus B squared is A plus B times A plus B. This is equal to 4. 2 squared is 4. When you expand this, you're going to get A squared plus B squared plus 2AB is equal to 4. This is very important to me. The only thing I want to do now is to rewrite, since I know that A is equal to this term and B is equal to this term. So I want to substitute anywhere I see A in this equation, I will write this. And anywhere I see B in this equation, I'll write this. But I want to take it piece by piece. I want to start with the first two, which is A squared plus B squared. A squared plus B squared is equal to, remember A is this, root of x plus root of 2x minus 1. This is squared, please. A squared plus B squared. Remember, it is squared. There is a plus in between, so I'll put the plus there. This becomes root of x minus root 2x minus 1 all squared. This is A, this is B. Remember I said we are assuming that A is equal to this and B is equal to this. When you get to this point, this 2 here cancels out this first root sign, and this 2 here cancels out the root sign in this case. So A squared plus B squared will be equal to x plus root of 2x minus 1, okay, plus x minus root of 2x minus 1. This and this will go out. So A squared plus B squared is equal to 2x because x plus x is 2x. So I'll just write out this. A squared plus B squared is equal to 2x somewhere here. A squared plus B squared is equal to 2x. Let me put it here. I remember I want to rewrite this main equation in terms of x. So let me write out the main equation somewhere here because I want to clean up this side. A squared plus B squared plus 2AB is equal to 4. This is the main equation I want to write in terms of x. So with that at the back of my mind, I can clean off this. So this goes. Remember, this is what I want to rewrite, the whole of this in terms of x. I've gotten a value for a squared plus b squared, which is equal to 2x. Now I want to get a value for 2ab. 2ab. Now, what we're going to do is that I'm going to start with a times b. What is a times b? Is the same thing as root of x plus root of 2x minus 1. Okay? This is a on its own, but it's going to multiply b, and b is this, x minus root of 2x minus 1. Remember, there is a root sign covering everything. So this is a times b. This is what it means in terms of x. So let me expand this. A times b will be equal to, I have a very big root sign. This root sign multiplied by this side becomes 1, covering everything that is in between. This will now become x plus root of 2x plus 1. We're multiplying x minus root of 2x. No, please, this is minus. Making a mistake because there's minus here. Root of 2x minus 1. So this is what we're going to get as AB. A times B will be this. If you take a look at this, this is a typical example of difference of two squared. If you have difference of two squared, if you have A squared minus B squared, the same thing as A plus B multiplying A minus B. This is difference of two squared. We're going to apply it in this place. Applying this difference of two squared, this algebraic identity we refer to as difference of two squared, into this equation, we're going to have AB will be equal to root of s squared minus root of 2x minus 1, or in this case now it will be all squared. If you look at this now, this 2 is going to take off this root sign, okay? Then A times B will be equal to root of s squared minus 2x minus 1. If you take a good look at this, this is a typical example of a quadratic equation, 2x squared minus 2x minus 1. Can we solve this quadratic equation? Yes, we can. A times B will be equal to, if we expand this quadratic equation, we're going to have x squared minus x minus x minus 1. Okay, we just split this, minus 1. So, we'll go ahead and solve. Let me just take off this, please. A times B will be equal to root of, how do you factorize this? If you check these two terms, x is common. So bring that x, I will have x minus 1. If you check these two terms, minus 1 is common. So bring that minus 1, I will have x minus 1. A times B will become equal to root of x minus 1, x minus 1. A times B will become equal to root of x minus 1 squared. From this point now, A times B will be equal to x minus 1 because the square sign will cancel out. So this is the value of A times B is x minus 1. Let me clean up this place. We have a squared plus b squared to be equal to 2x, and we have a times b to be equal to x minus 1. So, but what we're looking for is 2ab. We already have ab. So if we want to get 2ab, is equal to 2 times x minus 1. This is value of 2ab. So we now have a squared plus b squared, and we'll have 2ab. So we can now rewrite the whole of this equation in terms of x. To rewrite the whole of this equation in terms of x, it becomes a squared plus b squared is equal to 2x. So in place of a squared plus b squared, we are going to write 2x, then plus 2 into bracket x minus 1 is all equal to 4. So we have now rewritten this equation in terms of x at this point. Look at this equation carefully. 2 is a common factor to each of the terms of this equation. So I'm going to divide through this equation by 2. If I divide through this equation by 2, it becomes 2x divided by 2 plus 2 into bracket x minus 1 divided by 2 is equal to 4 divided by 2. This will cancel out this. This is going to cancel out this. This divided by this is going to be equal to 2. We are left with x plus x minus 1 is equal to 2. X plus x is 2x minus 1 is equal to 2. I'll move this to the other side of the equation. I'm going to have 2x is equal to 2 plus 1. Okay? Having gotten to that point, we are going to just go finally and solve for x. If 2x is equal to 2 plus 1, 2 plus 1 is 3. So to get the value of x at this point is to divide both sides of this equation by 2. This equation becomes 2x divided by 2 is equal to 3 divided by 2. This cancels out. So x is equal to 3 all over 2. Or you can write x as one whole number, 1 over 2. This is the value of x in this problem. Thank you very much for watching, my friends. I hope you learned something very interesting in this question. If you learned something good in this, please give us a thumbs up. We also greatly appreciate it if you are going to subscribe to the channel for more of such interesting videos. Thanks.